think we get cancer, folks. Those are unhealthy mutated cells. And free radicals are responsible for all disease. People come up to me and say, well, does it help this? Does it help this? Does it help this? Is it a degenerative disease? Meaning, did it happen by an accident? Did they get a hit on the head and it happened one day, it was there, and the day before it wasn't there, and the next day it was there? That's not a degenerative disease. A degenerative disease comes on slowly. And almost all the problems that we have today, of which we have myriads of names for, are degenerative, and the water is what is responsible, number one, for moving those free radicals out of the body, which are causing those things. Only the large solid plates hold the energy structure in the water to get into the cells. I had somebody tell me how they did an actual research study. They bought 4 or 5 of these other machines that have slotted plates, have mesh plates, and even some other kinds of plates, but they were not the high-grade medical solid plates. True to the research on hexagonal water, that if it's true hexagonal water, and if it's done properly with the proper electricity, the proper amount of square inches, enough on the plates to get the water split, it will hold, and that water held every single time way more than every single one of these other types of machines. And you can see the difference in the sizes. So the structure is important, and if it doesn't hold that structure long enough to get in your body or to stay in your body until it finishes its work, folks, it doesn't matter what it registers on the meter. If it can't hold it longer than more than a few hours, and many hours, it's worthless. Microclustered hexagonal water and calcium. A lot of people know that calcium is very, very, very important. And the water actually helps you get your calcium and keep it in your cells. Hexagonal water will help you retain calcium. We start to lose calcium a lot under stress and under just life and exercise and just moving through the day. Mental and physical signs of calcium deficiency, they're rampant. Nervous tension, inability to relax, can't sleep at night, fatigue, not in proportion to the amount of work you do, restlessness, irritability, quick-tempered, insomnia, spastic colon, tooth decay, bone loss, mental depression, muscle spasms, PNS, PMS, menstrual cramps, and menopausal symptoms, all calcium deficiency. So you're losing calcium, you're either not getting enough, but when you start on the proper water, it starts to stay in your body and you actually produce a better use of your calcium. Free radicals, you can see 2 molecules here and the one stealing from the other because it's positively charged and it goes after the negative. It oxidizes and breaks down cells. The brain can't perform well when there's too many free radicals. Nearly all diseases, and we're talking about brain diseases as well as body diseases that are linked to free radicals, they are actually produced from childhood, and I think that what we're seeing today is children very young are producing these free radicals because they are having, at very young ages in our 20s and 30s, not children anymore, but they developed these years before because they're high free radical production very early in life. Aging increases the production of free radicals. And we cannot keep up with this excess. There's no way. How many of us are actually getting younger every year? We're trying, but it's a battle, isn't it? And some of us are gonna make it, but it's a constant battle to get past those free radicals because we're getting hit with them everywhere. Feed the brain the most important antioxidant, it's water. Water is used as an antioxidant, is more efficient and more economical than pills or juices. You can do the math. If you spend $100, $200, $300 a month, which is not unreasonable, a lot of people are doing this for antioxidants, either in the form of juice or pills a month. You multiply that times 10, times 12, you've got easily $4,000 a year. And it's gone. And you only got it for you. Think about the economy of having one product that you can spend $4,000 on, and it can feed the neighborhood free radical scavenging nutrients. It's pretty much a no-brainer. It eradicates free radicals. The water can flood the brain all day long with free radical scavengers. And see, it's not enough. I take free radical scavengers. It wasn't enough. If I didn't have the water, it wasn't doing enough good. You've got to have what nature determined to be the first priority, and that's the proper kind of water. We want to retard the aging and renew the brain at the cellular level. Free radical and brain problems. These are all, again, scientifically documented that free radicals are an important part of the problem in aging brains, ALS, in Alzheimer's, in anxiety, in autism, bipolar, brain edema, brain infections, brain allergies, depression, hyperactivity, obsessive compulsive, Parkinson's, schizophrenia, seizures, sleep apnea, stress, strokes, and toxic metal accumulation and traumatic brain injury. All of this is documented by scientific studies that says these are related to an excess of free radical formation in the body, in the brain. Acidosis being a cause of disease. The body produces highly acidic wastes from the foods it produces, and from the foods you eat, I should say. Acidosis is one of the main contributors leading to aging and various illnesses. Acid wastes, if you don't excrete them, what do? They circle around and around and around. They end up being aches and pains. They end up being a loss of function, a loss of your brain. It can accumulate in your arteries, blood vessels, clog them up. You can get stones. You can get anything and everything from these acid wastes. And they accumulate in cells that are deprived of oxygen and nutrients. Look on the left-hand side and you'll see the things that cause acidosis in terms of food. And anything basically that is not a fruit or vegetable is an easy way to remember. They're acid forming. And how many people have an 80-20% diet? Folks, that's 80% foods that are fruits and vegetables and 20% that are grains and other foods. Not too many people do that because it's hard to eat that way, and not too many people are that dedicated. So acidosis builds up from the foods that you eat. Acidosis induces, now again, science has shown that it induces brain damage, that acidosis can actually cause neuron death, and it causes a reduction in the glutathione production, which is the most powerful antioxidant that your liver produces on its own when given the right stimulus and nutrients. The pH potential of hydrogen measurement in the cells. You have your alkaline pH and you have your acid pH. The negative ions are on the alkaline side. You assist detoxification when you have alkalinity. And the body, when it's alkaline, it can absorb calcium and magnesium and sodium and potassium. The body is amply supplied with minerals. You're not always going to be deficient. And it's abundant in oxygen. When you have an acid, you have abundant energy. Then you have positive ions. If you're on the acid side, they cause auto-intoxication. That means you poison yourself. And the body can't absorb the minerals. I've had people who say, but I take all these minerals. They're spending hundreds of dollars on minerals and they're not absorbing any because they're acid. And body uses up these key minerals in trying to neutralize acids. There's a lack of oxygen and there's little or no energy. How many people know that the #1 complaint is no energy? And when a product comes out that can give you more energy, people go for it, don't they? And what a simple thing to have pouring out of your tap in your own home that can produce a life flow of energy, not just for you, but for your whole family and your whole neighborhood. ALS and acidosis. There's a Dr. Gansel who's done a good study and works with ALS. And he's reported in the Townsend newsletter that he believes ALS is caused by severe acidosis. This is a very damaging neurological disease, and most people don't live with it. Recommends the use of Look at this, water that sends low voltage electrical impulses into the water. Now the next one is autism. Autism, a lot of you have asked me about, it's rampant. The U.S. military claims now we have 1 in 75 are on the autism spectrum. A few years ago it was 1 in 50. It keeps going down the wrong direction. Symptoms of autism, according to research, are linked to acidosis. High amounts of acids are found in the blood of autistics. And the mitochondria damage in the autistics is linked to the acidosis. Bipolar is linked to acidosis. Children's problems, acidosis. If they're shy, there's been research found, fatigue, impaired concentration, unwillingness to eat, perverted appetite. I had kids like that, one in particular. They're tough to deal with. Acidosis. And you know what? They don't like to drink. A lot of these kids that have these problems, they don't want to drink. And they want their foods that they want, and mostly they're not fruits and vegetables that they want. They can be restless and poor sucking. These are acidosis symptoms in children. Then you have schizophrenia, can be related to acidosis. Dr. Steinfeld says the key problem in schizophrenia is acidosis, and his work verifies that it is a biological problem. Seizures and acidosis. We talked a little bit about this before in terms of dehydration, but research also says it's due to acidosis. And an acid pH can actually trigger the seizure that can then lead to brain damage. Stress and acidosis. If you're stressed out, mental stress causes acidosis. Auto-intoxication, when you are poisoning yourself because you didn't drink enough water to get the poisons out, your bowels aren't moving, you're not urinating enough, stresses the body, makes you acid. It increases your cortisol production. When you increase your cortisol production, you want it low. It causes you to gain weight in places you don't want it. Acid is increased in diabetics. In every single diabetic, they have an acid problem. And there are absolute miracles when you look at this work that has been done with this microclustered ionized alkaline water in the hospitals. In Japan, you have seen pictures, video documentation of diabetics who have been absolutely turned around using this water. It's absolutely fantastic for any blood sugar issues because it helps get rid of the acidosis. It doesn't do anything to cure a disease. It gets rid of the causes and lets your body do the work. Acidosis in a traumatic brain event. If you are eating junk food and not drinking water properly, the right kind of water, and you happen to have an accident, a car accident or hit on the head, you can have a pH level in the brain that's already acid. When that event occurs and there is a shortage of oxygen or a traumatic event, restriction in the blood, or whether it's a stroke or a heart attack or an accident, the damage is actually made worse and the damage is increased in the brain. Here are other issues that acidosis is related to in the research. It's related to Alzheimer's, their acid, alcoholism, comas, Down syndrome, nightmares, and multiple personality and Parkinson's. Alkaline water solution. We have a solution. It is so exciting for me to be able to share with people a solution because we have an epidemic of brain problems. Would you agree? How many times have we said, what is wrong with them? Yeah? And, you know, it might be us, but, you know, we think and we see that there's a lot of issues with people's brains. They're not thinking right. They're not reasoning right. They're not functioning. We have an easy solution. It's effective. It's economical. It increases your oxygen. We know that oxygen is important. How many of you know that cardiovascular exercise will increase your oxygen? How many of you do it every day? Good, some of you, but we don't do it enough, do we? And how about if you could oxygenate your brain every hour of the day by just drinking a glass of water? Is that amazing or what? Nothing else like it. It moves acids waste efficiently, and the most efficient, and it neutralizes the acid in the cells. Use common sense, folks. Don't assume that water's going to cure anything. The body will heal itself when it's given the proper nutrients. And folks, water is a nutrient. Talk to people like this. Water is the number one thing that we are missing in all of our health programs. And that's the number one nutrient. It's a nutrient. It's not a cure. It's not a pill. It's not a prescription. It's a God-given nutrient, and it's the number one nutrient. And the wonderful thing is that we can share it at such an inexpensive cost, literally. You know how much medical things cost? Have you ever had a medical event? You can put out how much? $4,000 in about 5 minutes? Anybody had that experience? I've had many times where I've seen people where they won't spend money on something that will help them prevent an event. They have the event, like go to the emergency, and they spent that 10 times over. So think about that. You know, you're not buying something to have in your home and to have for your family because it's something that you don't need. It's a necessity. I don't think any family should be without this because it is the number one most important thing. Water's not a drug. Water is needed in high amounts because of the laws of nature. Water helps everything else work better, everything in your body. And water needs to be the first line of help. You are the soldiers. You are the infantry. You are the first line of defense. You are the ones that must tell them. You must show them the way. You must teach them. I had to be taught. You had to be taught. How many of you knew this when you started? Somebody taught you, didn't they? Now you're being taught. Now you go tell and you share and tell them how to get water. And tell them that water is not just water, no matter how pure it is. That they need 3 things in all the water that they drink. And if they don't have it, they don't have the best water. They need factor number 1, strong antioxidants that fight free radicals. Number 2, they must have microclustered hexagonal water that hydrates and carries antioxidants and nutrients deep into the cell. And number 3, they must have water that has the increased ability to carry oxygen into the cells with high alkaline pH values. Now we're going to do a fun little demonstration for you here. And I have a volunteer who's going to come up and help me with this. And this is for you. I want you to be able to have a hands-on tool because people tend to show me that I'm dehydrated. Prove to me, oh, I'm not dehydrated. I'm going to give you a little test that everybody in the room can use, and you're going to go home and play with it tonight and play with it with your friends. It's a test that comes from some of the acupressure and kinesiology that we learned. This is Gina, and Gina has traveled all day, and so she's been pretty dehydrated, so I thought she would be a good one to test because she didn't get to drink her good water. So first of all, we're going to just test her. And I'm going to take you this way. Okay, and you can see it on the screen. I'm going to test the tip of her nose. If we're going to test her in the clear, I'm pushing pretty hard, and I don't get any muscle or energy break. And now we test the dehydration point, and I have no trouble breaking that because she's very dehydrated. So now we're going to try and find something. She goes to the store, she runs into the 7-Eleven, and she comes out with Smart Water. And she takes this, open it up, and let's take a swig. And you can actually take a swig of it, hold it in your mouth so it goes to the energy to the brain. Good. And unfortunately, you'll have to swallow it. No, not yet. Okay, now let's go back to our point. Did it hydrate? Not doing anything. The energy's not going anywhere. Okay, you swallow. You know what? I think I'll give you my glass so you can spit in it. I don't want you to have to drink all the soda. Well, the next ones, you won't want to drink these. All right, let's do some bottled water. So have a swig of RO. You can drink that because it won't kill you. Hold it in your mouth. Now, is this going to hydrate her? It's even weaker. All right, you can swallow that. Now, sometimes we think, oh, we're thirsty, let's go for some juice. All right, so you can swallow that too. Hold it in your mouth. Good old pasteurized juice. Did it hydrate that brain? Not even. Yeah, that's right. And Sprite. Okay, now, you can swallow that if you want. You can spit it out too. Okay, give me a swig, and you can put it on the table there. Okay, give me a strong, let's hear. Nothing. You want to spit it out? Swallow. You swallowed it. Okay. Now, this is good microclustered hexagonal ionized water. And let's put it in the mouth and see what we get there. Hold it in there. And is it going to hydrate or not? What's your vote? I can't even budge it. Now swallow. Thank you. You may have that.
I have this.
You may. You're going to need 34 of them. You see, you could do that with your friends now. And you can show them. We gave her water. We gave her smart water. And it didn't do anything for her brain. We gave her juice. And it didn't do anything for her brain. And so we need to have the ability to take and show people. So now I've given you a little trick to test for dehydration. You first test them in the clear, and then you hold the point on the nose, and then you can give them tap water, you can give them RO water, whatever's available. And then you want to hold the last, and you can have them put it in their mouth, because it'll go to the brain, and it will show you if it's hydrating the brain. And isn't that amazing? What could we do to our society if we could change the hydration of our brains, starting from our schools, from kindergarten up? Yes, we could change our society, literally, if we would hydrate our brains. Take control of your health. Your body requires a constant and a consistent supply of water. It is the most important compound you put in your body. How many of you believe that? I know you believed it before tonight, but how many of you now are emphatic about it? And no function or reaction in the body can take place without the presence of water. Do you realize how critical that is? If there's a function in your body that is not working, what is that telling you? You don't have enough water, because every function and every reaction in the body needs water. And that is our presentation for tonight.
Dr. Allen has gone beyond her doctorate in nutrition to find answers for her clients' brain issues when nutrition isn't enough. She had vast training in neurodevelopmental therapy, neurokinesiology, brain reflexes, light and sound therapy, and brain stimulation techniques. Dr. Allen's personal challenge was to help her daughter, who was brain injured from asphyxiation, oxygen deprivation, and for her other child who had Asperger's. Both daughters today are functioning well emotionally, socially, and academically. She now offers other families the kind of life-changing information and care she so desperately needed for her own children. Dr. Allen's vast experience includes nutrition, allergy balancing, neuro-emotional release, essential oils, total body modification, homeopathy, magnetic and electromagnetic balancing, herbs, nutritional supplements, quantum energetic techniques for brain and body health, light and sound therapy, auditory integration training, neurokinesiology, and neurodevelopment brain re-education. She has developed a brain program called the Allen Method, which facilitates the connection of neurological pathways which are injured, damaged, missing, or not working properly. Through the Advanced Learning and Development Institute, individuals can participate in Dr. Allen's life-changing brain camps and home programs. Through this alternative brain developmental technology, many adults and children are finding hope and success with their brain, behavior, and health issues. For more information, contact Dr. Corinne Allen, Advanced Learning and Development Institute. The phone number is 866-81-BRAIN. Our website is www.brainadvance.org, or send us an email, brainadvance@gmail.com.